Look at what's happening. These worlds, they're colliding and collapsing. We did this. We're destroying the fabric of everything. You have to stop.
It stops with the fiction!
I'm always surprised when people know what the multiverse is. It's such a niche sci-fi concept, and now the multiverse is everywhere. You can't turn around without seeing something about the multiverse. But I feel like very few people know that The Flash, in particular, is the reason the multiverse really gained popularity.
Flash is the trailblazer of the DC Universe. Flash is the one who found the multiverse and opened up the door to multiple Earths across the DC Universe and all of this adventure.
Back in 1961, Gardner Fox and Carmine Infantino in Flash of Two Worlds were the first ones to see Silver Age Barry Allen go back in time and meet Golden Age Jay Garrick.
Barry Allen, the Flash, finds himself teleported to another version of the Earth that he lives on. And on this other Earth, there's another Flash, Jay Garrick. And that was really the creation of the multiverse.
Nowadays, doesn't sound like that special a thing, but back then it was revolutionary. So many of the superhero movies owe a debt to that comic.
It's expanded the idea of what DC Comics could do, what comics could do. It's the idea that anything can happen.
It's the best tool for any storyteller ever. If you find a knot or a logical problem in the story, it doesn't exist anymore. It's a multiverse. There's different reiterations and different incarnations of the same story. It's like cooked spaghetti.
The multiverse.
When I had started writing the project and I was playing around with the Speed Force and the idea of time travel and how to represent it on screen, I knew I wanted a sense that time was all around us, that it wasn't just linear. So I was going with something that was a bit more like a tunnel or a wormhole, and that was what was at first on the page. But then when Andy came in and he read it and he started sketching something, and he turned what was a tunnel into something that went all the way around and was spherical.
We've seen all kinds of time-traveling devices, tunnels, or just teleportation. I wanted to create a different version of time traveling, something that we hadn't seen before. When you run really, really fast and you break the barrier of speed light, you find yourself in this new space, which is a huge dome, a huge stadium created of memories. And that's how I came up with the idea of the Chronoball.
The Chronoball is Andy's concept for a space that Barry enters to basically see his life laid out before him and to try to go to various points in his past. And when we first talked about it, it seemed pretty hard. And then the more we fleshed it out, we realized it was almost like a film strip, but also like with sort of flat backgrounds in the background and 3D characters in the foreground.
In terms of photography, what we needed to do in order to make the join between what we photographed with the actors and the world that was obviously a world that was going to be entirely created in animation, was to connect the two things by light, so that there's animation in the light on the actors that is relevant to the animation of light in the background. And when those two things are joined, then that enables the thing to be a whole.
It's a very complicated 3D construct, and it's one of the things that made this movie the most data-heavy movie I've ever worked on in my life. The amount of storage that we have for all our data sets are just huge, because all of these things in the Chronoball have to animate, and they've all been volume captured, whether it's his mother, father. It's a kaleidoscope of all these images from his past, and now they're starting to come to life, and it's very exciting.
It was something I'd never seen, and I just thought, what a fantastically original way to depict the space-time continuum, but also this idea of multiple universes.
You can visually appreciate all these worlds coming into a collision path. In each world, we see a different character that we know from previous movies that we saw in the past. And we see George Reeves.
It's Superman!
We see Adam West.
And if only the Joker would think of that.
We see Christopher Reeve. We see Helen Slater, who played Supergirl. And that's a little wing there because they appear together in the same world, which is something that never happened in movies before. They never get together. And then, as a bit of a surprise, we see Nicolas Cage playing Superman.
There is a reason for this. Tim Burton's Superman. It's a movie that almost happened,
Many people know that Nicolas Cage was cast as Superman in the Tim Burton movie in the mid-90s. It was a lot of fun for me because it's the first time that we see Nicolas Cage as Superman in action in any movie. And even though it's just for a little bit, it opens up a window of possibilities that is very stimulating for an audience.
Is this back enough? Yeah, I guess so.
Being able to play with the multiverse with the DC characters has been incredibly fun and freeing, and my hope is that it really brings just a boost of energy to the cinematic universe.
This multiverse makes it a more compelling story. It creates a sustainable way of using time travel. Obviously, it's almost particular to The Flash, but I wouldn't rule out that it's used again, in the future. So I think it's very sustainable for adventures to come.